Hey everyone, I'm Yusuf Al-Imam, a lead data scientist at Seeloz, and I'm here with Sahel Jafari, which is our VP of Supply Chain.
Hello, everybody.
So at Seeloz, we've developed the Control Tower, which is an AI-powered platform that revolutionizes how businesses interact with their data and their ERP systems together. This technology enables intuitive querying, seamless generation of recommendations, and actionable reports to drive execution directly in the backend ERP systems themselves. So today, I'm going to walk you through a specific demo of intuitive querying and data retrieval.
Thank you, Yusuf. So to set the context, we are going to show how we would do basic data retrieval and analysis in an ERP system, in this case, SAP. For the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to be looking at a supply chain reporting. So we are running a standard SAP transaction to show by plant and by MRP controller all materials that we are responsible for as the planner 001. Here we have a number of filter criteria. So right now we're going to go run this report wide open. We press enter. System shows us everything that we have with a procurement type of E being a make, F being a purchased item, and these two last materials, production intermediate and finished product, being an E. If we come back out and we choose to look at just procured material, then we can put in the procurement type F, press enter, and then the system retrieves just the specific record that is a purchased material. Very, very basic here. I'm going to come back out and I'm going to remove the filter and run this wide open. So we have to come out of the screen, re-execute it with different filters and permutations. There are some filters that aren't in this standard report. For example, filtering by cost. These would have to be run through a separate report. So clearly, with any ERP system, we have to often have multiple reports to retrieve the information. And as we will show later, with the AI-based control tower, all of the possibilities of reporting are handled simplistically in one simple chat. So for the purposes of further exploration, let's look at the details of this material and specifically stock days of supply. So here we're going to drill down onto a finished product. And we want to understand we've got a stock days of supply of -12. So how is that calculated? What is the reasoning or the rationale behind it? So we're going to drill into the material and we're going to say only show us the requirements and the stocks. And so we see we have a stock of 4,608 pieces. We have a first customer order demand, which is covered by the stock. And so the available quantity becomes 0. The next customer order demand on the 9th of December is for 2,304. And that is uncovered because we do not have enough inventory for that demand. So given that the date is the 24th of December, what we will see is we see a negative stock days of coverage. And if I go back, what we do is we will see this negative stock days of coverage is calculated at 12 days in working days. So in here, we've seen that we have to drill into the data to see the context of how the system is calculated, in this case, stock days of coverage. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go pivot to the control tower to see how this type of querying becomes more simplified. So how we can dynamically specify filter criteria and how the system allows us or shows us all the data in a pertinent, clear and concise fashion. So we do not have to do the back and forth, the double clicking and the navigation that is specific to the traditional ERP reporting. So with that, I will hand over to Yusuf and Yusuf can show us how this will be done in the control tower. Over to you, Yusuf.
Thanks, Sahel. So as you saw, like you just mentioned, there's a lot of manual navigation that's needed just to get very similar data, or you even have to generate a completely new report just to get one additional attribute. So here, I'm going to start with a basic query on the RLA dashboard or the control tower dashboard, where I would ask just a wide sweeping query to retrieve the coverage for all materials. So say, hey, RLA, find coverage for all materials. I'll let her think for a second. Awesome. So here we have the same exact data that we saw in Sahel's report, and we can go on over to one next slide that has all the different days of coverage. So here, for example, we get information on the standard cost, the procurement type, the different LL codes, and this is all extremely customizable. We have a setting page where you can determine whatever you want to see. So I can actually zoom in on one specific attribute flawlessly. So I'll say find coverage for all materials less than 0 days. So as we saw in Seeloz data, essentially all of the materials are negative days of coverage. So why don't we extend that and say find coverage for all materials with less than 3 weeks of coverage, or they're actually 3 weeks late, if that makes sense. It's negative 21 days. So here we've kind of narrowed it, and we can generate a report and send it wherever needed flawlessly and easily. So the next step would be to shift over the query to a different attribute that, for example, wasn't included in the original report, the standard report demonstrated by Sahil, but we can still get it here and actually compare it with the same thing. So I'll say find coverage for all materials with 1 day lead time. As a business planner, we may need to see how different materials are performing based off of their lead times and so on. So for example, these are the same materials with lead time of 1 day, and of course, still negative days of coverage. We can find coverage for all produced materials. So that's that proc type F that Sahil was showing us. Oh, I'm sorry, I said E.
Procurement type E. Yep.
Procurement type E, forgive me. So if I were to say find coverage all purchase materials, we could generate a report where the procurement type is F. And of course, we could filter any of these columns ourselves too, but it's easy just to ask the question and get the response for the data without having to generate a specific report for your use case, without having to navigate through more than one window. All your information is within 1 to 2 different slides, maybe a third one if you want extra information. I just want to showcase one more query that demonstrates that the control tower is able to retrieve data from anywhere in your ERP without having to generate a new report or specify that to the control tower itself. So here we say, find all coverage for materials by top 50% standard cost. So here we're not really limited by any additional criteria. Here we have our standard cost. We can sort in any direction we please. And we have their coverages right here on the next page. And of course, as always, we can generate our report and do as we need with it.
Okay, thanks, Yusuf, for the demonstration. So we'd like to conclude by summarizing how the control tower can be used to execute on-the-fly dynamic chat-based queries to retrieve and display data. This can be used from any data source, for any application, and provides features that are not available in the typical ERP backend systems. Thank you very much. We look forward to publishing future videos showcasing other functionalities of the control tower. Thank you all.